civil rights violations. What did their lawyers do? Went right back into court the next day on appeal and said, how can you convict on a non-existing law? They were expunged and they never did a day in jail. Never. See the game they play on us? Because we're thinking colors. We're thinking that that's a black man and the other person's a white man. When children identify the nations of the earth by color, we got names like, no disrespect, Johnny Gamage. What is that according to law? That's contracting name, that's contracting business under a false name. You can go to jail for that. That's what it is. Gamage is an Englishman. Or a Scotsman. Sorry. He's not an Asiatic, he's a Scotsman. Therefore, no rights to be respected. He doesn't honor his mother and father with his national parentage name. That means he's the property of the person who owns that national parentage name. That's what it means, according to law. So he is subject to, not part and parcel to. He's subject. All right? So, that's what happened to him. That's what happened to the cops in LA with the Rodney King incident. That's what happened to O.J. Simpson. Do you know why what happened to O.J. Simpson happened to O.J. Simpson? Had nothing to do with the murder of his ex-wife. It had to do with, as Brother Taj Tariq put it, the Black Code 1724, which is what all your state legislation is based on. The Black Code 1724. Look them up. They just won't call them that. They call them vagrancy laws. It's the same thing. Do you know what one of those is? The one that they applied to O.J. Simpson's issue? It is forbidden for any European woman to marry a Negro. And they are not obligated to recognize the marriage. And that person can be subjected to any arbitrary punishment. Basically, we'll make something up for him. Well, that's what happened to O.J. But they can't tell you that because you have to have faith in civil rights. Because that's the plug on the bottle for the genie. You the genie or the genius. That's the cork in the bottle. One of them. Because once you get away from the whole race issue and civil rights issue, now we're thinking real issues. It's never been color. It's not about, oh, we just don't like you niggas. It's always, always, always been about the true parental ownership of the land. Always. Oh, they love it every 26th of February when we say Black History Month. And we praise the myth of coming across the Atlantic. What did it say, 50 million? I've heard ridiculous numbers, 200 million of us. Read an atlas and look at the west coast of Africa and tally the approximate population. Don't you realize that 20 to 50 million people across the Atlantic would have depopulated Western Africa? It never happened. How many people are familiar with the Olmecs, Toltecs in Mexico? What do they look like? Dark-skinned, kinky-haired people, am I correct? Now, we can prove that at least a small group of dark-skinned, kinky-haired people were pre-Columbian. They were here before Columbus and before the so-called slave trade from Africa. Can anyone here in this room prove that their ancestors came from that land? Just knowing about the Olmecs destroys the myth of the transatlantic slave trade. We were always here. As long as you're thinking race and it's just white and black and they don't like us niggas, you will always keep doing the same things and expecting different results. That's the clinical definition of insanity. Yes, sir. Him and me. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you this. How did our ancestors get here? That's it.
Brother, I'll tell you. How did you, within the course of 400 years, I'll answer your question. How did you, within the the course of 400 years, lose your identity. Black is an adjective. Black describes a noun, and a noun is an object, person, place, thing, or idea. Black what? They can go in the ground and dig up bones and tell you what the animals ate millions of years ago. But in the course of 400 years, all of a sudden they don't know who you are. So the big joke every 25 years is what the niggas gonna call themselves today. Do you know how they changed you from a national identity to property status, walking on 2 legs? Like the sister said, education. They rewrote history and got you to accept it. Now once they did that, they could tell you anything. We got you from the moon. And you will have no choice but to believe it because you don't know where you came from. Fact. You don't know where. They say, we got you from Mars, nigga. And you'll be like, Black power, I'm proud to be from Mars. And they laugh every year with a joke. I have to give credit to Minister Louis Farrakhan for the Million Man March, because in one day, he helped to change hundreds of years of negative information, disinformation about you here. Just because a lot of us, blind, deaf, and dumb Negroes, got together in one place with relative peace. I give it up to him because of that. He changed public policy on the Negro in one day. Or he helped.
Ran government in Houston, Texas, too.
That's right. But the fact of the matter is that none of our people wanted to touch us. They didn't want to touch us. We were stinking. As some people say, in a shallow grave. We were stinking. Still are. Still are. You know what I'm saying? That's why, okay? We came, without confusing people, I'll just say it, might as well say it. Brother, you never left ancient Africa. You never left ancient Africa. And I'll prove it. You never left it. You're always here. The only thing that happened is that you came from Africa to America by the stroke of a pen. They changed the name. How many of you are familiar with one of the oldest maps of the Western Hemisphere called the Piri-Reis map? It's written in Latin, it's also written in Arabic, by a quote-unquote Arab cartographer by the name of Piri-Reis.
Name again?
Piri-Reis, P-I-R-I-R-E-I-S. In Arabic, or in your Aramaic languages, we don't write the vowels, am I correct? Studies here. Why? I mean, I won't go into why in detail. Bottom line is that the vowel contains the life of the word. And words are things, and words bring things into physical manifestation. So the vowels are considered sacred. Okay?